swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that your testimony in this case will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Have a seat, pull yourself up close to the microphone. Can you
Can I
get
proceed, Your Honor?
big and quiet?
Good afternoon. Could you please begin by stating your first and last name and spelling it for the record?
My first name is Kyle, last name is Douglas, Douglass.
Where are you currently employed and in what capacity?
I am employed by the Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation.
And what is your position with the Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation?
I'm a special agent.
And are you assigned to a specific unit or division?
Yes, I am. I'm currently assigned to the Force Investigations Unit. I was previously assigned to the Special Investigations Unit.
And how long have you been a special agent with the BCI Force Unit?
Less than a year. That would have happened earlier this year.
And was that unit actually newly created?
It was.
Could you explain a little bit about that?
Essentially, the Force Investigations Unit was created to solely investigate officer-involved critical incidents. Prior to the creation of the Force Investigations Unit, the Special Investigations Unit was investigating officer-involved critical incidents as well as other types of investigations.
And did you start with the Force Unit as soon as that unit was developed?
I did.
And were you employed with BCI prior to being in the Force Unit?
I was, yes.
And where were you there then?
I was assigned to the Special Investigations Unit.
And how long did you spend in the Special Investigations Unit with BCI?
That would have been since I was hired by BCI, so from August of 2022 until I think the Force Investigations Unit went into effect January or February of this year.
So how long total have you been a special agent with BCI?
A little over 3 years.
And do you have any prior experience in law enforcement or investigations prior to that?
Prior to working at BCI, I was in an investigative capacity of another position within the Attorney General's office with the healthcare fraud unit, where it primarily conducted financial crimes.
And how long did you hold that position?
I was there from February of 2011 until I transitioned to BCI in August of 2022.
So is your career in law enforcement roughly 14 or so years?
Investigations, yes.
Investigations.
Yes.
And Special Agent Douglas, could you describe a little bit about what the Bureau of Criminal Investigations is?
The Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation is a state-level investigative body that falls under the Ohio Attorney General's office. We conduct a variety of criminal investigations at the state level and are divided into various units that specialize in different things.
And when is it common that Attorney General's Office, BCI, will come in and take over an investigation from a local police agency?
When we are requested by that local agency.
And what are the type of scenarios that usually lead to that request?
Well, either, as in this case, an officer-involved critical incident, but we can be requested to conduct other various types of investigations, whether it be some type of violent crime or a homicide, to public corruption or financial crimes. Is kind of a little bit of everything.
Is it common that BCI will come in as the lead investigative agency for officer-involved shooting incidents?
Yes, that's correct.
And Special Agent Douglas, were you assigned as lead investigator in the shooting death of Takaya Young on August 24th, 2023?
Yes, I was.
At that time, how many officer-involved incidents had you been lead investigator on?
Prior to that incident, I had been assigned as the leading investigator for 4 officer-involved critical incidents.
And on August 24th, 2023, how did you first become notified or involved in that incident?
I was notified by my supervisor at the time.
And where were you when you were notified by your supervisor?
I was at home.
And who is your supervisor, or who was your supervisor at that time?
At the time, it would have been Special Agent Supervisor James Mulford.
And did you go straight to the scene from your home?
I did, yes.
And what information did you have at that time as you were responding to the scene from your home?
Not a lot. I was notified that Blendon Township Police Department was involved in a critical incident at the Kroger parking lot on Sunbury Road. I I was told there was a vehicle involved and a female involved, and that's pretty much all I knew prior to arriving to the scene.
And approximately how long would you say it took you to respond to the scene from your home?
I would say probably 30, 40 minutes.
And approximately what time do you think you arrived at 5991 Sunbury Road on August 24th, 2023?
I can't recall the exact time, but I believe it would have been sometime in the 7 o'clock p.m. hour.
And upon first responding there, what happens first? Who did you first make contact with?
The first contact we will make when we arrive at a scene will be with the local agency, which would have, in this case, would have been Blendon Township Police.
At the time that you first got there, who was in control of the scene?
Blendon Township Police was.
And when you first got there, were other BCI people on scene already?
I can't recall exactly who was there before me, but several of us responded, and we arrived at various times.
And do you recall when you first got to the scene, you said you made contact with somebody from Blendon Township Police
I did,
Department?
yes.
Do you recall who you first spoke with upon arrival?
I can't recall. It might have been the chief. It also might have been one of the lieutenants. I can't recall for sure.
And at that time, did you obtain additional information about what had occurred?
Yes,
Was the defendant, Connor Grubb, still on scene at the time you arrived there?
he was not.
And was Takaya Young still on scene?
She was not.
Are you aware, had she been pronounced deceased by the time you had arrived? I
do not believe before I arrived she had yet been pronounced deceased. I believe we received that information after I had arrived.
And had Takaya Young's identity been determined at the time you arrived?
At the time that I arrived, no.
And do you know when or how that happened?
That would have been done by either in conjunction with the coroner's office or crime scene unit in determining identification.
Do you know how people at the scene that night learned the identity of the decedent?
I believe I was part of the conversation where we were trying to confirm who she was. As far as exactly how that conversation went, I don't recall.
Did family members of Takaya Young show up to the scene that night?
Yes, they did.
And is that, how were they notified that Takaya was pronounced deceased?
There was a conversation with family members who had come on scene, and I believe that through information we received from the family members, we were able to confirm that it was Takaya Young.
And what law enforcement agencies were present when you got there?
There were several. Besides us in Blendon Township, I believe there was a response from Westerville Police, Mifflin Township, Columbus Police, and Minerva Park, I believe, and the Franklin County Sheriff's Office as well.
And other than you, who else from BCI was there?
It was myself, my supervisor at the time, Jim Mulford, and I believe there were 3 other agents that were involved in our duties the night of the incident, and there, as well as two agents from our crime scene unit responded as well.
And when you arrived, did you do a walkthrough of the scene?
We would have received information from Blendon Township as far as when we describe a scene walkthrough, it's where the important events of the incident occurred and where evidence might be located, things of that nature.
So did you receive that type of information soon after arrival?
We did, yes.
And after you made contact with Blendon Township, what did you begin doing at the scene?
So as lead investigator, the night of the incident, my primary responsibility was to kind of coordinate as far as assignments go. Other agents, give them responsibilities, information to gather, because we are a collector of facts. That's our our primary function. So I would have coordinated assignments for other agents whether it be to conduct interviews, to canvass for possible video evidence, things of that nature. Myself, I recall receiving information from other officers who were on scene as far as potential witnesses. So my primary responsibility the night of was compiling potential witnesses, identifying them, and determining whether or not they had already been spoken to, needed to be spoken to, whether or not they were still on scene, or if they had been spoken to, if they needed to be followed up with at a later date.
Now, that first night on scene, did you personally interview any witnesses?
The night of, I did not.
And were interviewing witnesses, was that one of the assignments you were delegating to other officers?
That's correct, yes.
Were some of the witnesses still present on scene?
Yes, they were.
And were you receiving information from other investigators who were interviewing these witnesses?
I was, yes.
And what type of information were you getting from them?
Just establishing who had been spoken to, general information about what witnesses had stated or said they had seen. I tasked somebody with making contact with the staff at the Kroger to work on getting video surveillance footage.
And was the scene contained or had a perimeter been set up by the time you had gotten there?
Yes, it had.
And when you got there, were you made aware of where exactly the incident transpired?
Yes, we were.
So were you able to personally observe the scene?
I was, yes.
And what did you observe?
I observed, we got there, I saw a general area of where the incident had occurred. We were notified which parking lot Miss Young's vehicle was initially parked in, and we were explained the path of travel of the vehicle. And when I was there on scene, I observed that the vehicle was still in its final resting place when it came in contact with the wall underneath the awning of the Kroger building.
Did you observe any blood inside or outside of the vehicle?
Yes, I did.
Where did you observe any?
I recall there was blood on the vehicle seat. I also recall seeing blood on the ground near the vehicle in the sidewalk or parking lot area.
And did you go inside of the vehicle?
I did not.
Were you able to see the interior of the vehicle?
I was, yes.
Did you observe anything in the interior of the vehicle?
Yeah, there were various items inside the vehicle.
And did you observe any damage to the vehicle?
I did.
What type of damage did you observe?
It was hard to see the front of the vehicle because of its position, but there was obvious damage to the front of the vehicle. There was also, it was obvious that the front driver's window had been broken, smashed, and there was an apparent bullet hole, a single bullet hole in the vehicle windshield.
Where on the front of the vehicle did you observe damage?
It was on the front. I couldn't say specifically where on the front of the vehicle, and some of that I did not see until after the vehicle had been moved in order for it to be finishing processed by the crime scene agent.
Did you see any damage on the front driver's side of the vehicle?
I don't recall.
And do you recall seeing any items outside of the vehicle on the ground?
Yes, I do.
What did you see?
I saw a cloth tote bag, which I believe had blood on it. And while it was processed, it was determined that there were liquor bottles inside of that tote bag.
And where was that located when you arrived at the scene?
It was on the ground, not far from the vehicle.
And did you state that the vehicle was still in the spot where it came to rest after hitting the wall when you first got there?
Yes, it was.
Was it removed from that spot while you were still there?
It was eventually removed from that spot in order for the crime scene agent to finish processing the vehicle, because based on where it was, there were parts and sides of the vehicle that he wasn't able to access based on his position. So in order to finish processing it, it had to be moved.
Where did they first move the vehicle just to complete processing?
They initially just moved it away from the wall, just out in the parking lot, so the crime scene unit could get all the way around the vehicle to photograph and process.
And was the vehicle ultimately towed from the scene?
It was.
Were you still present there when the vehicle was towed?
I was there when the vehicle left the scene, yes.
And where was the vehicle removed to?
I believe it was taken by the sheriff's office. I don't know specifically where it went.
And do you know where the vehicle came to be stored?
I know it eventually went to the Blendon Township Police Department.
And Special Agent Douglas, did you ever go inside of the Kroger store that first night?
I did not.
Did you obtain surveillance video from the store?
We did. I did not personally, but another agent in my unit did, yes.
And did that agent obtain the video that first night?
Yes,
Do you know, did you end up reviewing that Kroger video that night?
I did.
And Special Agent Douglas, were you yourself actually collecting or processing any evidence at the scene?
Not at the scene, no.
Were there other people from BCI to do that?
Yes, that would have been our crime scene unit.
And so does BCI have a whole separate unit for the people who collect and process evidence?
Yes, they do. Yes, that would be the crime scene unit.
And what were they doing on scene?
So they would have been responsible for collecting evidence related to the incident. They would have photographed various parts of the scene, the vehicle. They would have collected, they also are responsible for processing the involved officers, photographing them, and collecting weapons which had allegedly been discharged during the incident.
And what BCI special agents from your evidence unit were present at 5991 Sunbury Road that night?
It was Special Agent Matthew Austin and Special Agent Cassandra Tackett.
And when you were on scene, did you observe a spent casing?
I did. We were notified where the casing was when it was found in the parking lot. I believe it had been marked with a cone, a traffic cone.
Had that been located prior to your arrival?
I believe so, yes.
Was it still in the place where it was found when you got there?
To my knowledge, yes.
And was that pointed out to you?
It was, yes.
And did you state that that had been marked with a placard or a cone?
It was. The crime scene unit would have, it was marked with a cone prior to our arrival. The crime scene unit would have gave it a placard when they processed that piece of evidence.
And do you recall roughly where that casing was located when it was pointed out to you?
It was in the parking lot, somewhere between the front of the store and where Miss Young's vehicle had been originally parked.
And did an evidence technician from BCI end up collecting it that night?
Yes.
And how long do you think you remained on the scene on August 24th?
I believe, I don't know exactly what time we cleared the scene, but it would have been sometime in the early morning. I believe it was around 4 or 5 in the morning by the time we were done.
And in the days immediately following, what were your first steps in the investigation?
So in the days following the incident, as the lead investigator, my responsibilities would include requesting records from Blendon Township Police Department, as well as collecting, making sure video evidence got collected. We requested body-worn camera video from Blendon Township for Officer Grubb and for Sergeant Moynihan. And we also followed up with other police officers who responded to the scene but were not there when the shooting happened. We followed up with them, obtained video from them and statements from them as well. I continue to work on establishing potential witnesses of the shooting incident who had not been spoken to the night of the incident. Other administrative duties would have been collecting training records for Officer Grubb, firearms firearms qualification records as part of that request. I'm sure there were others I'm not mentioning.
And from where did you request training materials for the defendant?
That would have been through the Ohio Peace Officers Training Academy, or OPATA.
And what did you receive from OPATA?
We received a record of his status as a peace officer, as well as a curriculum of courses he would have taken while he was in training.
And did you actually receive from OPATA the materials on the various trainings that he would have been through?
We did, yes.
May I approach, Your Honor?
You may.
Special Agent Douglas, I'm handing you what have been marked for identification purposes as State's Exhibits 68 through 61. through 71. Are you able to recognize those items?
Yes, I am.
And what are they?
These would have been curriculum we received from OPATA. And these are divided into units and specific topics of the curriculum Officer Grubb would have gone through while he was in the training academy.
And what are the topics of the various exhibits?
Exhibit 68 is titled Handgun, Unit 4, Topic 1. Exhibit 69 is titled Patrol Aspects and Overview, Unit 8, Topic 1. Exhibit 70 is Building Searches, Unit 8, Topic 4. And Exhibit 71 is Stops and Approaches, Unit 8, Topic 5.
And do those actually contain the materials of the courses that the defendant would have gone through?
Yes, yes.
And are those fair and accurate copies of the training materials that you obtained from OPATA?
Yes, they are.
So Special Agent Douglas, in the days following the day of the incident, did you state that you had requested and received the body-worn camera from the involved Blendon Township officers?
Yes, we did.
And did you follow up with officers who had responded to the scene in the immediate aftermath of the incident?
Yes, we did.
And did you have them complete a statement? Did you have them do written or verbal statements?
I believe it might have been a mix of both. I believe most of them would have been given us verbal statements, the officers who arrived after the incident had concluded.
And did you also collect those officers' body-worn cameras?
We did, yes.
And the officers that you spoke with who had responded in the immediate aftermath, how did you reach out to or make contact with those officers?
That would have been done through maybe contact that they had made with other agents while they were still on scene. We would have gone through them directly. And those contacts they usually provided their contact information to us.
So the very first night, have you kind of compiled a list of the various officers who had responded to the scene?
Yes.
And then in interviewing them in the days that followed, did you make direct contact with them?
I did not personally, but other BCI agents did, yes.
The BCI agents who were conducting the interviews? did?
Yes.
And Special Agent Douglas, in the course of your investigation, did you speak or conduct an interview with Sergeant Eric Moynihan?
Yes, we did.
When did you speak with Sergeant Moynihan?
I believe the date was October 11th of 2023.
And where was that interview conducted?
It was conducted at the Blendon Township Police Station.
And who all was present for that interview?
It was myself, Special Agent Supervisor Jim Mulford, Sergeant Moynihan, and his attorney from the FOP.
And was that interview written, or was there a written statement, or was it just a verbal interview?
That was a verbal interview.
And was that recorded?
It was audio recorded, yes. Yes.
And Special Agent Douglas, why, given that the event was August 24th, why did you not, or were you not able to interview Sergeant Moynihan until October 11th?
It's common practice for BCI to coordinate interviews with involved officers and direct witness officers to a critical incident. It's common practice for us to coordinate those interviews through the Fraternal Order of Police.
And by that, do you mean not officers who responded in the aftermath, but who were present for the incident itself?
That's correct, yes.
And could you just, what is the FOP?
The FOP is the Fraternal Order of Police, which is a union organization which represents law enforcement officers in the state of Ohio.
And also, in the course of your investigation, did you obtain a written statement from the defendant?
Yes, I did.
How was that statement received by you?
It was received via email.
And when did you receive that statement?
I believe the date was October 24th, 2023. We received his written statement.
Your Honor, may I approach?
You may.
I'm handing you what has been marked for identification purposes as State's Exhibit 66. Are you able to identify State's Exhibit 66?
Yes, I am.
And what is that?
This is the written statement that we received from Officer Grubb.
And is that a fair and accurate and complete copy of the original statement that you had received from defendant?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, may I publish?
We can get it up. You may.
And Special Agent Douglas, does the first page and a half or so kind of go through background information about defendant's employment history and uniform he was wearing that day?
Yes, sir.
And does information about the incident itself start on the second page of the statement?
Yes, it does.
We'll jump ahead. Could you please read the statement beginning with the first full paragraph here on page 2?
Yes. Immediately before this incident, I was in the Kroger parking lot, which is located in a shopping plaza at 5991 Sunbury Road. I was assisting a civilian who had locked her keys in her car. The locked car was parked right next to, east of, the handicap space and was parked facing south. I had been attempting to get the car unlocked for probably 4 to 5 minutes when Sergeant Moynihan pulled up. He had also been in the parking lot taking a report on a hit-skip accident. Sergeant Moynihan offered to assist in trying to get the civilian's vehicle unlocked. While I was attempting to get the front driver's side door unlocked, Sergeant Moynihan attempted to put his hand down the rear passenger's side window because the window was opened a few inches. I was in the process of inflating the air wedge to try and open the door when I saw Sergeant Moynihan walk south. A second or two later, I heard Sergeant Moynihan say, "Out of the car," or "Get out of the car." I saw him standing at the driver's side of a black sedan that was backed into a handicapped parking spot that was south and west diagonal of the car I was attempting to unlock. He was hitting the driver's side window while telling the driver to get out of the car. I walked over to assist Sergeant Moynihan, and I heard him telling the suspect that they said she stole something and to get out of the car. She was not complying. There was a car parked to the east of the black sedan. I walked between the cars and behind Sergeant Moynihan. Since he was already positioned on the driver's side, I took a position at the front of the stationary black sedan. On the west side of the black sedan, there were several shopping carts and a white female was standing there. There was a black female in the driver's seat who Sergeant Moynihan was continuing to order out of the car, but she was refusing. She was saying something to Sergeant Moynihan, but I could not hear exactly what she was saying. However, based on her refusal to exit the vehicle and the inflection in her voice, I believe she was arguing with him. After Sergeant Moynihan told her multiple times to get out of the car, I drew my weapon and ordered her to get out of the car. She did not, and I again told her to get out of the car. Instead of complying, she accelerated the car towards me. I tried to move to my right, east, to avoid being struck, but the front bumper of the car hit my legs/shins.
Hold on, officer. Council on approach? Very special agent.
That's okay, Judge.
You can continue reading.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good. When it hit me, I leaned forward and placed my left hand on the hood of the car to brace myself in an effort to not fall to the ground and be run over. Suddenly, my feet were completely off the ground and my waist was on the hood of the car and my body was being carried by the car as she continued accelerating. It was at that moment I fired one round through the windshield. I immediately noticed the car was turning to the right, west, and seemed to slow down. I slid off the driver's side front corner of the car and got my feet back onto the ground. The car continued west towards the Kroger. It veered south along the Kroger and then up onto the sidewalk perimeter of the shopping plaza. The car was not moving very fast, and I ran up to the driver's side while airing shots fired. As soon as I reached the car, I tried to open the driver's side door, but it was locked. The car kept moving until it hit the exterior brick wall of Kroger and stopped. Sergeant Moynihan attempted to break the driver's side window but was unsuccessful. I struck the window with the end of my flashlight and I unlocked the driver's side door. I opened the door and the suspect did not appear to be moving. I could not reach her because there was a pillar next to the open door. I walked around the pillar and tried to get her out of the car. However, her foot was still on the gas pedal. As I attempted to get her out, the car started moving forward again and I fell to the ground. The car kept moving south and the suspect fell out of the car onto the sidewalk. Sergeant Moynihan and I secured the suspect and I aired to make sure medics were being dispatched. I saw the suspect was bleeding and I ran to my cruiser to retrieve my trauma bag. I placed a seal on the bullet entrance wound which was in her chest. Sergeant Moynihan and I rolled her over to check for an exit wound but could not find one. A male approached us and stated he was an ER doctor. We told him we were trying to get her stable and that we had placed a chest seal and Sergeant Moynihan held pressure on the wound. Additional officers arrived and began securing the scene. Officer support arrived and I returned to the Blendon Township Police Department. I waited there until BCI agents collected my weapon and photographed me. This ended my involvement in this incident. I initially drew my weapon to provide lethal cover as the suspect was not complying with Sergeant Moynihan's repeated orders, and I did not know if she had access to any weapons in the vehicle. I fired one round at the suspect. I believe I was approximately 5 to 8 feet from the suspect at the time I fired my weapon. I fired from a position on the hood of the suspect's car, specifically with my waist and left hand on the hood of the suspect's car and my feet off the ground while the vehicle was moving. I fired with a right strong hand grip, and I do not believe I used my sights. The direction of my shot was north at a slightly downward angle because I was on the hood of the car. My backdrop was the interior of the suspect's car. My target was the suspect's center mass. I only fired one shot because I was no longer on the hood of the car. At the time I fired my weapon, I was in fear for my life as the suspect had just struck me with her vehicle. My feet were no longer on the ground, and the top half of my body was on the hood of her car. Immediately before I fired, the suspect had ignored repeated commands to get out of the car, and instead of complying, accelerated her vehicle directly at me and struck me. I do not believe I had any other reasonable alternative to protect my life from the suspect's actions. Once I realized the car was accelerating, I tried to get out of the way, but the suspect's vehicle struck my legs/shin and lifted my feet off the ground, and the suspect was trying to flee with me being carried on the hood of her car. I did have a taser, but a taser would not have been effective because it would not have penetrated the windshield. I fired my weapon because I believed that I was going to be seriously injured or killed by being thrown from the vehicle and or run over. I have now had an opportunity to review the body-worn camera footage of this incident. On the footage, I am able to hear what she was saying to Sergeant Moynihan, but during the incident, I knew she was saying something to him, but did not know exactly what she was saying. I also know now that the white female I saw standing on the passenger side of the suspect's car was the clerk who alerted Sergeant Moynihan to the theft. On the footage, it also appears that the suspect's tires squealed just before she struck me, but I do not specifically recall if I heard this during the incident. I now know the suspect's name is Takaya Young. I did not recognize her, and I do not believe I have ever had any prior encounters, professional or personal, with her. This concludes my statement.
And was that a fair and accurate copy of the statement that was originally provided to you by the defendant?
Yes, it is.
And Special Agent Douglas, after receiving that initial statement, did you pose several follow-up questions to defendant?
I did, yes.
And how did you submit those?
I submitted those via email to his attorney.
And did you receive responses from those follow-up questions?
Yes, I did.
How did you receive responses?
Those were also received via email.
And what date did you receive the answers to your follow-up questions?
I believe that was December 4th of 2023.
Your Honor, may I approach?
You may.
I am handing you what has been previously marked as State's Exhibit 67. Are you able to identify that item?
Yes.
And what is that?
This is a copy of the email that I received with answers to the follow-up questions we asked Officer Grubb.
And how many questions did you pose?
3.
3. And can you please read your questions and the follow-up answers?
Yeah. Number 1, was Young being detained or under arrest? Was she free to leave? And the answer was, Young was not free to leave as she was being detained pursuant to the theft allegations from the Kroger employee. As a result of her continued refusal to comply with orders to exit her vehicle, the detention turned into an arrest. Question number 2 was Young's vehicle running before you moved in front of it? And the answer was, when I initially stepped in front of the vehicle, I knew the vehicle was stationary and I believed the vehicle to be parked. I do not recall if the vehicle was running when I stepped in front of it. And then the third question was, what was your purpose or reason for standing in front of the vehicle? And the answer was, I positioned myself in front of the vehicle for 3 reasons. First, to convey to Young that she was in fact being detained and not free to leave the scene. Second, to provide cover to Sergeant Moynihan, as he was positioned on the driver's side of the vehicle and Young was in the driver's seat. I did not know if she had access to a weapon inside the vehicle, and if she did, I would need to provide lethal cover to Sergeant Moynihan. Third, with Sergeant Moynihan on the driver's side and the female on the passenger side, as well as other civilians in the busy parking lot, the front of the vehicle was the best position from a tactical standpoint to avoid crossfire.
Was that a fair and accurate copy of the answers you received from defendant as to your follow-up questions?
Yes, sir.
And Special Agent Douglas, the scene where this incident occurred on August 24th, 2023, 5991 South Sunbury Road, is that location in Blendon Township, Franklin County, Ohio?
Yes.
And Special Agent Douglas, during the original statement you received from defendant or in his answers to the follow-up questions, does the defendant ever state that he shot and killed Takaya Young?
Objection, Your Honor. Leading speculation, I mean,
Councilman approach, just you guys.
Special Agent Douglas, in defendant's original statement or his answers to your follow-up questions, does he ever state that he had shot and killed Takaya Young out of fear that Sergeant Moynihan was under a threat of serious harm or death?
I don't believe so.
And does he ever state that he shot and killed Takaya Young out of a fear that anyone else in the parking lot was under threat of serious harm or death?
In his statement, I don't think so.
If I may have a moment, Your Honor.
You may.
No further questions. Thank you, Your Honor.
Any cross-examination?
may I proceed, Your Honor?
Okay. The prosecutor leads.
Good afternoon, Special Agent Douglas.
Good afternoon, sir.
We met before, we know each other.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you being here. Please call me Mark, don't call me sir, okay?
I'll do my best.
I want to pick up where the prosecutor left off, okay? You still have my client's statement up there?
I do.
If you'd be so kind and read page 1 to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury. May I have the Elmo, please?
Page 1 of his, Officer Grubb's original statement?
Correct.
Okay.
I don't believe the prosecutor had read that, correct? Had you read that?
Statement of Officer,
I'm sorry. Let me get this.
You gotta focus it. Focusing. No, it's supposed to be auto-focusing. You can see it right here.
Why did it freeze?
It freeze. Yeah. Let me try clearing.
And while they're doing that, sir, I may interrupt you at times in the reading, and I apologize in advance, but just so it goes quicker.
There we go.
Thank you so much, Ms. Cook.
Ready? Sure. Statement of Officer Connor Grubb, badge number 292. This statement is regarding my involvement in an incident that occurred on Thursday, August 24th, 2023, between approximately 6:20 PM and 6:45 PM in Blendon Township, Franklin County, Ohio. I am voluntarily providing this statement.
May I interrupt you there, Special Agent?
Yes, sir.
The word voluntary is there, so that means it's not required to give you any statement whatsoever, correct?
That's correct.
And voluntary means he's doing that of his own free will, and there's no requirement, and you can't force him to give any type of statement. correct?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. If you could, we continue, please.
I am voluntarily providing this statement as part of the investigation being conducted by the Bureau of Criminal Investigation, BCI, into this matter. My date of hire as a full-time police officer with the Blendon Township Police Department is February 21st, 2019. Prior to that, I had been a part-time officer with Blendon Township PD since January 2019. My regular assignment is patrol second shift. My regular duty hours are 3 PM until 11 PM. My regular days off are Friday and Saturday. I earned my Ohio Peace Officer Training Certification from the Delaware Area Career Center in November 2018. I do not have any law enforcement experience prior to joining Blendon Township PD. I do not have any uses of force that have been found outside of policy. I served in the United States Marine Corps from 2013 to 2017. I attained the rank of Sergeant E5. I received an honorable discharge. On the date of this incident, I was wearing my standard Blendon Township PD uniform consisting of a black short-sleeve shirt with Blendon Township police patches on both shoulders and olive green BDU or battle dress uniform pants. I was also wearing an external carrier that said police on the front and my badge was attached to it. I had my body-worn camera BWC mounted on the outside of my vest carrier and it was activated during this incident. I was carrying my township-issued Glock 17 9mm service weapon, which was loaded with township-issued ammunition. I am current in my range qualifications with this weapon. I was not carrying a backup firearm. I was not working with a partner. I was in Cruiser 9.
And if you'll just be so kind as to read the top paragraph, because I believe that's the only thing the prosecutor didn't have you read.
I do not wear glasses or contacts, and my uncorrected vision is good. I do not wear hearing aids, and my hearing is good. I do not suffer from any disabilities. I was not taking any medication, prescription, or over-the-counter that could impact the performance of my duties. I had not consumed any alcohol in the 24 hours before this incident. I had not worked any special duty or overtime in the 24 hours prior to this incident. I arrived at the start of my shift well rested.
Thank you very much, Special Agent Douglas. And would you like me to call you Special Agent or Agent Douglas? What do you prefer?
Whatever you prefer.
Thank you for that. So I want to talk to you again. The prosecutor talked about some timing issues. We have worked on other cases together, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you were aware at the time after this that I was involved in another type of critical incident, correct?
That's correct.
And perhaps that was the reason for some of the delays in getting you the statement and things like that, correct?
Yes,
As we were in trial.
that's correct.
Okay. Now, I want to talk to you in general about this team. And you said a phrase, and I want to make sure I have it right. You are the collector of facts.
That's right. Yes.
So this elite team was started at the Attorney General's office at BCI because you guys investigate use of force all over the state, correct?
That's correct.
And you could be called to Toledo, you could be called to Cleveland, you could be called to Cincinnati, Columbus, and everywhere, right?
Yes.
So this team that's assembled, it's a specially designed unit to specifically respond to officer-involved critical incidents, correct?
That's correct. Yes.
And all the people on your team, with the exception of the crime scene search people, they're trained in use of force concepts, correct?
I can't say for certain. I will say that other agents that responded to the scene that participated in the initial investigation and some of the supplemental investigation were not assigned to SIU or what is now FIU.
But you as the leader of that team, you've been trained in that. And where I'm getting at, Special Agent Douglas, is this isn't a homicide unit, right?
No, the FIU, no, it is not.
This isn't a drug thing or anything like that. This is an elite group that responds to officer-involved critical incidents, correct?
That's correct.
All right. And because of that, you as lead officer and other people who are on the team, you guys are trained in Fourth Amendment aspects, correct? Of uses of force.
Trained in,
You're aware of Graham v. Connor.
yes,
You're aware of the three items that you're supposed to look at when assessing an officer-involved critical incident, correct? Versus Graham v. Connor.
I can't say with certainty that every agent receives that training.
I'm not asking if every agent did. I'm asking if you did in order to be on this team, to be a lead special agent on this team.
We receive training to conduct these incidents. That's a mix of formal training and on-the-job training.
Absolutely, but a normal homicide detective would not be trained in Graham v. Connor factors, right?
I would assume no.
And you guys came up with a best practices manual, so to speak, that governs the way you guys approach an investigation on it, right?
As far as the manual goes, I know of the concepts in the manual which you are referring to, yes.
Correct, so this is best practices for investigating an officer-involved critical incident. That's prepared, and this was 2021, but that governs what you guys are supposed to do, correct? That's the way you approach these cases.
I know that there are concepts within that manual which are used as guidance for us to conduct our investigations.
Very well said, much better than I could, thank you. And the overriding goal is one of transparency, correct?
Yes,
You want to collect all the facts. You're not putting your fingers on a scale one way or another. You're just collecting the facts, collecting the evidence, and conveying that to the powers that be, whoever potentially is going to review the whole entire case file.
that's correct, yes.
But your goal is to put factual information in your reports and in your summaries, correct?
Yes,
Your goal is not to taint the summary one way or another, right?
correct.
Okay. Your goal is complete transparency, because in these types of cases, they're complex, they're emotional, and everybody's looking at them, right?
Right.
Everybody outside of law enforcement and prosecution defense. And you want to make sure that you do an entirely thorough job so that there are no questions regarding your point of view.
Our job is to collect the facts and conduct a thorough investigation in order to give a better understanding of what happened during the incident.
Absolutely. And part of the training in there is that the officer must be judged on the circumstances at the time of the incident, correct?
Yes,
What he or she knew and what he or she perceived, right?
that's my understanding, yes.
And tell me if these sound familiar. Because it's a Fourth Amendment seizure issue and the Graham factors, you have to take into consideration the severity of the crime at issue, right?
We don't have to take that into consideration. That's for other authorities to determine.
It's a poor word. You have to investigate the severity of the crime at issue and present on that, right?
It's a criminal investigation, yes.
Right. You also have to present on whether or not the suspect was actively resisting or not. You have to investigate that, right?
If that's determined within the evidence that we receive, then that would be documented.
You also have to document, based on the evidence that you receive, whether or not the suspect posed an immediate threat to the officer, correct?
As part of the investigation, that's, again, if it's anything that is a fact of the case, which is relevant to the incident, yes, we would want to include that in our investigation.
Okay. And when you're gathering that information, it must be judged in light of the facts and circumstances surrounding the officer, what that officer knew at the time.
Yes,
There's no hindsight, there's no after-the-fact type analysis, right? And
not by us.
Correct.
Yes.
Gathering that facts.
Correct.
So based on your investigation here, everything that you've gathered, and all the videos that you reviewed, and all the statements that you have, it was quite clear that the person in the car was not complying and was resisting arrest, correct? To you, based on your reports.
The information that we received from Officer Grubb and Officer Sergeant Moynihan, they stated that she was resisting.
Well, you watched the video of her in the car, correct?
Yes,
You heard the commands and the request to get out of the car, right?
yes, I did.
So you physically observed that she was non-compliant, and that's a sign of resisting arrest, correct?
Yes, you can see in the video that she doesn't get out of the car.
And with regards to, there's an issue in Graham whether or not the individual was evading or trying to flee. It's clear from your investigation and what you reviewed that she was trying to get away, correct?
Based on the information that we gathered, that is what it appeared. That's what appeared to occur.
Correct. Based on the information that you gathered, there was no license plate on the car, correct?
I don't believe so, no.
There was no handicap placard in the car, correct?
I don't think so.
And you got the EMS material from inside Kroger, right? You got all the videos from inside Kroger, right?
The highway patrol would have done that, but yes,
But then they sent them to you, correct?
that's correct,
And then
yes.
you reviewed that, correct?
We reviewed it. The science behind that kind of report, I'm not familiar with, but
I'm not going into science, don't
Okay.
worry about that. My point is, the buzzers inside of a Kroger, when they go off, she didn't stop them, correct?
in the video that we saw, no.
And there's a second set of sensors that goes off, she doesn't stop them, correct?
Correct.
And then there's a person running out after her, she doesn't stop, correct?
Miss Young didn't stop? No, she went to her
And
car.
then Sergeant Moynihan's telling her to stop, she won't stop, correct? Based on your investigation, what you gathered to be turned over.
Sergeant Moynihan can be seen instructing her to get out of the vehicle.
Now, with regards to the offense at hand, you have to look at it from the entirety, meaning you have to also investigate if there are any offenses that the person driving the vehicle potentially could be charged with, correct? Or probable cause, correct?
We typically wouldn't be involved in that unless we were requested to be. What we do want to know is whatever information put Officer Grubb at the scene at the time of the incident.
Absolutely. And so you were aware that there was, that she had stolen something from Kroger, right? And she was trying to flee. That could be a robbery, correct?
That's what was reported to us, yes.
And in fact, you issued a search warrant, right, later on?
My,
To
be,
gather your team.
yes.
And tell the ladies and gentlemen, jury, what a search warrant is and why you use those in these investigations.
A search warrant has to be signed by a judge, and it would contain information giving us probable cause to search whatever, whether it be physical or electronic.
Like electronic, you might be trying to gain records or something like that, right?
Yes.
And so as lead agent on this, do you remember, and I think you actually swore this to the judge back on December 5th of 2023, a search warrant for purposes of seizing information, and then you put probable cause in there to investigate robbery and felonious assault and theft as it related to Ms. Young, correct?
Yes, that was the charge that we used to write the search warrant.
So when you swore to that, you're swearing that there was probable cause because you're under oath to a judge, and then the judge signs the warrant, and then you go get the stuff.
Based on the information we had, yes.
Absolutely. Okay. And you would agree with me, based on your investigations, that a car can be a deadly weapon, correct?
It can be, yes.
Absolutely, depending how there's a charge, if a car doesn't have to hit someone to be charged with an attempt felonious assault, correct?
Can you articulate that a little bit more? I'm sorry.
You're familiar with the Ohio Revised Code, correct?
Yeah,
And criminal, you're familiar with the level of felonies, right?
yes,
Okay, so a felonious assault is cause or attempt to cause serious physical injury with a deadly weapon, right?
correct.
So that doesn't mean that you actually have to hit the person with the car or shoot the person has to hit the person with a shot. Just attempting that could be the actual charge, correct?
That is my understanding of it, yes.
So the severity of the crime at issue is both, out of the Graham, is both the charge as well as the potential threat towards the officer, right?
Yes, but
Perceived threat.
the theft itself is not part of the investigation of the critical incident.
One, I agree with you 100%. And that's what people get misconstrued sometimes.
Right.
You're investigating the car and the use of force. That's what you're investigating and gathering information on.
Yes, sir.
Now, let's talk about best practices, okay, when you get to the scene in general. Based on this manual and based on your training and experience, it's important to immediately get the officer involved away from the scene, correct?
That's not our responsibility. If the agency determines that's the best practice, then yes, we would not interfere with that.
No, absolutely, but you, in your manual, on page 51, you talk about, yes, it's not your responsibility. I'm sorry if you thought that was my question. My question was, that's a normal standard procedure or best practice at the scene, is you don't want the officer hanging around the scene the entire time.
Yes, that's standard, yes.
And that's kind of the best practices. And you've responded, I think you said, to 6 or 7 different critical incidents?
Prior to this incident, I was the lead investigator for 4 prior to this one.
Were you part of a team that responded to other ones?
Yes,
Okay. Did you have the opportunity to observe officers who were involved in a critical incident at the scene? Ones you're involved
in this case or others?
Others.
At the scene, they are typically not still at the scene.
And I'm asking, have you ever been to one where they are?
I can't say with certainty.
And in your training manual, it actually talks about that the officers involved in a traumatic event like this can react differently. Some might shut down, correct?
Yes,
Some might be talking nonstop, correct?
correct.
Some might get sick, some might be in a daze, some might be in shock, right?
Yeah.
And that's something that you go into knowing that, hey, I'm not going to interview that person right then, and there's no requirement right then because of that type of situation and the effect it has on the officer, right?
Well, our common practice is to coordinate that process through the FOP.
Absolutely, understood. And let's go to the next step of an investigation for you, and in this case. So you're at the scene, Connor's gone, the other stuff's happening. Your next step is to get as many people potentially identified to be interviewed, correct?
Yes,
Okay. And it's important to get those civilian witnesses or other witnesses interviewed as soon as possible, right?
typically, yes, especially if there's people that are still at the scene, we want to get those statements while they're still there, obviously.
And it's based on the training in your manual that as time goes on, people's memory fades and they may see social media or may be affected by something, right?
Sure.
Okay. And so part of your best practices is you like to tape record, Special Agent Douglas, you guys like to tape record people as well as take notes of each person that you interview, right?
Typically, yes.
Okay. And then you write your summaries based on that.
Correct.
And while you're writing the summaries, you're not trying to change or slant or do anything of that nature. It's just factual. Here's what I was told, here's what I've seen, here's what I've did, right?
That's correct.
You also try to gather as much video evidence as possible, correct?
Yes,
And in this case, you did that. You got the body-worn cameras as well as the Kroger, 2 views outside, right?
yes.
And then the views inside, right?
Of the Kroger? Yes.
Okay. And is it common, based on your experience as a Special Agent Douglas and on this elite team, that very rarely does the video match exactly what the person says in their statement, correct?
It depends. That can vary. It can vary depending on the scenario.
Absolutely, but in terms of even for civilian witnesses or the officers involved, you would expect there to be some inconsistency, right?
There could be, yes.
It doesn't mean that they're lying, right?
Correct.
And the video sees one thing, correct?
Yes.
The mind sees something, correct?
Correct.
And when you remember it, you perceive something, you remember what you perceived, correct?
That's fair, yes.
And a video camera can't perceive something, it only records and takes pictures of it.
That's correct, yes.
So that's why it's important, because in Fourth Amendment use of force cases, the first prong is, what did the officer perceive an immediate threat, right?
Correct.
That's something you're investigating.
Yes.
But it's important that an officer perceives something, it may be different than what the video actually shows in slow motion or frame by frame. Right?
Yes, it could be, yes.
And you've come across that multiple times.
Yes.
And I believe also, based on your training, the manual, if you remember, your best practices manual talks about officer remember things. It's not like a story, but through their sensory gathering, fragments of vision, hearing, touch, taste, and smell. And that can be different than what, because a video can't give you that, right?
Right.
And so you're looking for that when you're interviewing people and taking statements, correct?
Looking for it, I mean, we're really just, we want to give the officer an opportunity to say what they remember.
And you do the same thing though for witnesses at the scene as well.
Yes,
Because some of the witnesses may be affected emotionally by what they saw and what they heard.
correct, yes,
Okay, so it goes both ways.
yes.
Now, when you're gathering evidence, the prosecutor talked about a little bit, chain of custody of evidence is important, right?
Yes,
Okay. And you had talked about the car, and you weren't sure where the car went from the Kroger and where it was housed. Is that what I understand?
I was not involved in the chain of custody for the car, so I can't say with 100% certainty who or where that chain of custody was.
But you would agree with me the chain of custody of the car is important because depending on data that's retrieved from the car, you need to know who's been in the car, who's moved the car, things like that.
Correct, yes,
Now, you were with us last Wednesday out at the jury, right?
yes,
And you observed that the car in Blendon Township, the police department where they had it, the seal was broken, right, on the right side passenger door, correct?
I believe that was noted while we were out there, yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
I took a picture, right?
Huh.
You don't know how that occurred, right?
I don't.
Okay, but that goes to the chain of custody and access. So it sounds like we have a gap from the time that it left the Kroger parking lot, it went somewhere, and then subsequently ended up at Blendon Township.
Correct.
Okay. Now, your process is you're getting people interviewed, you're gathering the information from all your other agents, special agents, and then you compile everything, and then you have to write some reports, right?
Yes,
You have to write some summaries, video summaries, investigative summaries, witness statement summaries, right?
yes,
And again, you're the lead, you're the head of this, right? So there's an initial briefing summary that you wrote on August 24th, 2023. Does that sound familiar?
yes,
And you stayed in there and you write, Young attempted to flee and struck the Blendon Township Police Department officer with her car, right? You wrote that based on what you gathered and what you reviewed on the video, correct?
that's what was reported to us on the date of the incident.
So did you see that on the video?
I eventually saw what happened in the video, yes. When I wrote that report, I can't say I had seen the video yet.
Very good, thank you for correcting me. But eventually, you did in fact see the video, and you would agree that the car struck my client.
That's what it appears to have happened in the video, yes.
And you would agree with me that an action is faster than a reaction, correct?
Yes,
And then you did a body-worn camera review in October 9th of 2023, correct?
correct.
There, this is your observations now, right?
Yes, the bullet points in that report are my observations.
Young accelerates towards Grubb, that's your observation.
Yes.
Screeching tires can be heard, that's yours.
That was what I believe to be screeching tires was heard in the video, yes.
And fires one shot, and his left hand was on the hood, right?
Yes, and that can all be, I'm only documenting things that I can see in the video.
100%. You also see that a child can be seen in the crosswalk with a shopping cart nearby to the car, correct?
Yes,
All right. And then number 8 says Young's vehicle appears to strike Grubb, who has his firearm pointed towards Young in the vehicle. Her vehicle is angled towards the storefront, and a child is in the path. You wrote those observations, correct?
yes, based on what I saw in the video.
And you write an investigative report on November 17th, 2023, and that's after the October 9th one. And you say Young begins to turn the wheel and accelerate towards Grubb at a rapid speed. Those were your words, right?
Those were my words, correct.
Moynihan grabbed the top of the driver window, right?
Yes,
Okay. And Grubb left his feet with his body on the hood of the Young's vehicle before coming back to the ground. And then Moynihan bumped into him. Those were your words, right?
yes, those are my
And
words.
Grubb announced shots fired.
Correct.
Now, your investigative report, I want to talk about that right now, okay? You also try to help the potential prosecutors of the group determined there's a lot of witnesses, right?
Yes,
You try to rank maybe priority or people who are more relevant than other people.
yes,
Okay, and that's what this report is for, correct?
correct, yes.
And the first person you summarize is Sergeant Moynihan, right?
Yeah, it
Sergeant
says,
Eric Moynihan.
yes,
Most relevant, overall incident, he's right there in his body-worn camera.
correct.
Jalen Young, most relevance because she was right there, heard the engine roar and accelerate. That's what you indicated.
That was not my report,
That's
but
what was told to you
that's what was told to us.
from her.
Correct.
The prosecutor, and then you were aware that, so you had a written statement from Jalen Young, correct?
I believe so, yes.
And a tape-recorded statement.
Correct.
And then you were aware that the prosecutors had a meeting with her in early October, again, right? You weren't there, but I believe your supervisor was there.
I was not there, but I was aware that it had happened, yes.
And you would have acquired that summary and made it part of your case file.
I did not do that. That would have been somebody else.
The other person was Tanala Young. You ranked as very relevant. Who is Tanala Young?
I'm sorry.
Tanyla Young.
I believe she was identified as Takaya Young's sister.
Was she one of the other people involved in the theft?
At-
Based on a Crime Stoppers tip and things?
I was not part of the theft investigation, but that was a separate investigation.
And so as a group, I'm going to read off some names and you tell me if someone on your team interviewed these people and had a combination of written or oral statements. So Robert Arnold.
Yes.
Ken Bliss,
Yes.
Leah Sharma,
Yes.
Liana Coder,
Yes.
David Cooper,
Yes.
Teresa Diaga Gianni Tony,
That sounds right, yes. But I recall these names. Yes.
Jessica Knox,
Yes.
Erica Haig,
Yes.
Yakia Hicks,
Yes.
Heather Spade / Jablonski that the jury heard from,
Yes.
Thomas Jablonski,
Yes.
Suzanne Jennings,
Yes.
Lorraine Krzyzewski,
Yes.
Parfell Naples,
I don't recall that one, but if you're telling me we did, I believe you.
Tyler Long,
Yes.
Sierra Lowe,
Yes.
Joshua Morales,
Yes.
Bobby Jean Nitz,
Yes.
Miriam Oshira,
Yes.
Vanessa Radford,
Again, that I don't immediately recall that name.
and I'll go faster, Crystal Reed, Kendall Sam, Amber Stillings, Chris Weaver.
Most of those names are familiar to me as or being spoken to as a potential witness.
You wouldn't disagree with me that there was a total of 27 civilian witnesses who were interviewed, had some part in this situation, whether it's in the store, in the area, or out the parking lot.
That sounds correct, yes.
And because you want a complete picture of this, that's why you talk to as many people as possible, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you would agree with me when, at your time, maybe not, that Kroger, that's a busy Kroger in that area, right?
I'm not familiar with that Kroger, but I mean, based on the video, at least at that time of the day, it was fairly busy.
There's people coming and going and cars crossing, and that's the main entrance, right?
Yes,
Based on what you saw in the video.
correct.
And now, I might use the wrong term. My understanding, did you guys do a Lycra scan over by the car where it came to a final point?
That would be a question for the crime scene unit.
Okay. Do you know if they did one back where the initial car was parked, backed into the spot?
I can't say with certainty that they did.
Thank you. Special Agent Austin might be able to answer that question.
Yes, that's correct.
Now, part of the
Full
investigation.
approach. Not on the record. All the time.
We have a new acronym now for kids. It's, keep it slow, stupid. That's what Carmen's saying. If you're aware and if you're not, it's my understanding that they did try to ascertain the identity of the other people involved in the theft ring through facial recognition, right?
That would have been part of the theft investigation, but yes, I believe that that is something they would have done.
And it's, and, okay, all right. And did you, in your review of the video or anything like that, did you ever see a turn signal that was activated in Miss Young's car?
I believe there, at some point, her turn signal was activated. I can't say with certainty without obviously seeing the video again.
But nowhere in your reports did you ever put that you identified a turn signal?
I don't think so.
You did.
Okay.
May I have a moment, Your Honor?
You may.
I mean, this is very clear that it's agency PCR and facial recognition, so it's where special agent calls us, but he's lead agent who just doesn't know.
May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
You may.
I'm going to mark this for identification purposes only as Defendant's Exhibit Z.
Z as a zebra.
Z is in Z, not being admitted. May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
You may.
And Special Agent Rose, this is just why it's confusing. On there, could you take a look at that form? That's part of your case file. Have you had a
Yes,
chance to read it?
yes, I recognize this as another agent who was in my unit at the time.
So in that unit, so it looks like a facial reconsideration request form. So facial recognition was requested of the other people. What
It-
you're testifying to is you're not sure the results.
That's correct.
Okay, but that is something that you guys do and that was done in this case, at least the request was made for that.
That's correct.
Okay. Ms. Stevens, anything else? Special Agent Douglas, thank you so much. I appreciate your work.
Thank you, sir.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a 15-minute recess. Do not discuss this case among yourselves. Do not permit anyone to discuss it with you or in your presence. It is your duty not to form or express an opinion on the case until it is finally submitted to you.
All rise.
witnesses who were identified at the scene. But were those witnesses to the actual moment of the shooting itself?
Not, not all of them, no.
Were some of them inside of the store at the
Yes,
time?
yes,
And were some of them too far away to see the incident?
that's correct.
And did some of them simply not see the moment of the shooting?
Yes.
You were also asked on cross, or it was mentioned that Takaya Young was resisting arrest. But on the video, is Takaya Young ever actually told that she's under arrest, or is she told to get out of the car?
I recall hearing her being told to get out of the car.
And there were questions about robbery and felonious assault, but at the time the defendant drew his firearm and put himself at the front of Takaya Young's vehicle, at that time, what crime was under suspicion of being committed?
I can't say.
What was the allegation?
We were told she was being detained as a potential suspect in a theft allegation.
And there are also some questions about felonious assault and the two types of felonious assault. One being when you actually cause serious physical harm to another. Throughout the course of your investigation in this case, was there any indication that the defendant sustained serious physical harm?
I can't speak on that. I couldn't say.
And then the other, did you have any indication that he suffered serious physical harm?
That would depend on your definition of serious physical harm, but that, again, that would not be something I would be involved in determining.
And there was also talk about the other type of felonious assault, which, as the defense attorney said, you wouldn't even have to necessarily hit someone. It involves knowingly attempting to cause physical harm to another. In the video, where is defendant positioned in relation to Takaya Young's vehicle?
In the video, it appears he's standing in front of her vehicle.
Is he on the front driver's side of the vehicle?
I can't say for certain exactly where he was standing.
And did you note in your report that Takaya Young can be seen turning her steering wheel to the right?
I believe it was, at some point in the video, her turn signal was activated, yes.
And Special Agent Douglas, are you a member of the FOP?
I am.
How long have you been a member?
Since I joined the Attorney General's office in 2011.
If I may have a moment, Your Honor. Nothing further, thank you, Your Honor.
Any questions?
Special Agent Douglas, you were able to see stuff in the car, watching the video and movements based on slowing it down and frame by frame, correct?
Yes, we have the ability to watch it in slower and not in real time, yes.
And so if you're had to make that determination of something going on in the car in 1.6 seconds, not going to be able to be done, correct? Would you agree with me, the human reaction?
I can't say. That would depend on an individual's perception.
Absolutely. So let's go now to this. Is a person who's being ordered out of the car free to go? They're being ordered out of the car, and officer said you are being detained, correct?
She was told that she was not free to leave.
Correct. That is detaining, placing someone potentially under arrest, correct? You don't have to say you're under arrest in order for them to comply, correct?
No, you don't.
An officer saying, get out of the car, get out of the car, get out of the car is enough that they're not free to go, correct?
It would be my assumption that I would not be, if a police officer told me I get out of the car, I would assume that I am not free to leave.
And let's talk now about this. The felonious assault I asked you about is causing or attempt to cause serious physical harm with a dangerous weapon. Are you with me?
Yes,
Okay. The dangerous weapon being a car, correct?
it can be, yes.
Absolutely. Hypothetically speaking, Special Agent Douglas, you're 2 feet in front of a car, and the car you don't believe it's a stationary car, right? And it's hypothetical, right?
Okay.
And the car hits you. Is that an attempt to cause harm, any type of harm, with a serious, with a deadly weapon?
It could be perceived that way, yes.
Thank you very much.
All right, Special Agent, you can step down.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Leave everything there. The lawyers will be able to get it. Councilman approach. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to break for the evening. Do not discuss this case among yourselves. Do not permit anyone to discuss it with you or in your presence. It is your duty not to form or express an opinion on the case until it is finally submitted to you. And if you guys can come in at 9:15 tomorrow morning, that'll avoid all the other jurors checking in if there's any. So just be here about 9:15. Go have a good evening. Hopefully it doesn't snow tonight.
All right.